Mayor Michael Melham. Mayor, thank you so much for your time on this. Before we talk about the president's actions, what is the latest on the situation there in Belleville? Are there still reports of these drone sightings?
Thank you for having me. So absolutely. I mean, all over New Jersey and even Long Island, I'm getting reports from videographers that are stationed right at the water there in Long Island, seeing them come over from what he says is New Jersey. Here in New Jersey, we're about 500 mayors strong. We are still waiting for answers because our residents are still gravely concerned over what's flying just over our homes.
Absolutely. And we know that the president wants action. For anyone who missed it, let's listen again to some of what he said. This is from the Oval Office on Monday.
I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
And can you commit to some kind of...
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay? Yeah, why don't we find out immediately? I mean, I can't imagine it's an enemy or there would have been, people would have gotten blown up all over. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was. They had a lot of them flying over Bedminster, which is interesting.
All right, so we heard the president there saying, hey, can we get right on this, Susie? Mayor, what is your reaction to President Trump asking his White House chief of staff to immediately get to the bottom of these drone sightings?
It's absolutely welcome news. I mean, if we just back up a little bit, President Trump, even when he was President-elect Trump during his transition, he's been on the record now at least on 3 different occasions about these drones. The first time he did mention that our government knows and our president knows, and he wasn't sure why they weren't telling us. And if you understand how the transition works for president, our president-elect receives the same exact national intelligence briefing that our president does. So if it was a foreign adversary or something alien or extraterrestrial, I'm certain as president-elect he would have known. The fact that he doesn't seem to have that many details, and he was asked the second time about it, and that's when he said, well, I'm going to disclose it within my first or second day into office, tells me that if he's not briefed on it yet, it's probably not a matter of national security or certainly not an alien invasion or anything crazy like that. More than likely, this is going to be our government or experimental drones that are up in the sky. I'm still waiting for that disclosure. I do believe, and I take him at his word, I do believe that New Jersey mayors and all the residents here in New Jersey are going to get disclosure, and it's going to come soon.
All right, that's some good news there. And that's what I wanted to ask you, Mayor. I mean, based on, what residents there are saying, what your constituents are telling you, what do you think is going on in the skies?
I mean, it's tough. Every time I see a video, my opinion seems to change. I mean, I've recently been watching and spent some time with the videographer out of Long Island. I mean, he has orbs, these glowing orbs of light on camera that as you watch them right before your eyes, they seem to transform into a mechanical drone. So I've actually watched it myself where these orbs are glowing balls of light, different blinking lights all over the place. And as it gets closer to you, you actually see it transform into a drone. Whether it's a drone from the beginning and it's being obstructed by bright light, I can't tell you, but it is cause for concern. We have looked at flight tracker data. We don't see any airplanes in the skies. These things are absolutely some kind of phenomenon that's happening just over our homes. We need answers and we need them quickly.
Yeah, and that's so important to note that, you are looking at flight tracker data and not seeing records of this. So, Mayor, are you confident that we will start to get some definitive answers, whatever those answers may be?
I believe we're going to get answers. Calls for speculation as to whether they're going to be definitive answers or not. Yeah. I do take the president at his word. I do think that we are going to get some kind of disclosure. I've listened to government speak. I've listened to our state, New Jersey, speak. I've listened to the federal government speak, and they've been very specific at times. They've said things like, it's not our DOD, it's not our Homeland Security. And I've learned, and being in this business for a while, that when government speaks very specifically, listen to what they're not saying. So when they say it's not DOD and it's not Homeland Security, they're not saying it's not a private contractor. They're not saying a lot of different things there. So they're giving themselves some plausible deniability when they say things specifically like that. However, I'm still fairly sure that this is probably going to be our government assets, as the president said when he was president-elect, and even now. If it was a foreign adversary, I'm almost certain with $1 trillion military budget, we'd be able to take these things out of the sky. The fact they're not coming out of the sky and we keep seeing them, I truly believe that we will find out, whether it's sooner or later, that it is probably some kind of government asset.
All right, last question for you, Mayor. What would you like to see happen next? And maybe more importantly, what are you telling your constituents?
I'm telling them to stay tuned because they keep asking me. They don't know. I mean, I've heard little green people, gray people. I've heard foreign military. I mean, keep in mind, a story that nobody's talking about is that a Chinese national in California was arrested at an airport with a drone that was flown over one of our military bases, and he was en route to China. So the fact that, the government initially was telling us there's nothing to see here, there's nothing to be worried about, people are concerned. They don't know if it's a foreign adversary. They don't know if it's just a spy or something like that. So I keep telling them, stay tuned. We're going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep sounding the alarm. I'm not going to stop until we get answers, and I do expect disclosure from the Trump administration.
Yeah, and I do want to add, we reported on that Chinese national who was taken into custody. We reported on that here on News Nation Now. But Mayor of the Township of Belleville, New Jersey, Mayor Michael Melham, thank you so much for your time.
And before I turn to questions, I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office. From President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
Let me make sure it's showing. All right. And you're going to see a lot more signs of the chariots. As we approach the downfall of this kingdom, you're going to see chariots, like you see the birds in the sky. They're just going to be out there. All right. And everybody's going to see them. Come. So let's play this clip. So that's the chariot looking on your screen. So they shot a missile at it. Now the chariot deflected it. You see that? Let's play that again. It's kind of fast. It's only 15 seconds. You see the chariot doing its own thing. You'll see the people kind of shoot a missile at it, and then the chariot kind of deflect it, changes projection, and throw the damn missile back at the earth, man.
This is over my house right now.
Tonight, as mysterious drones continue to pop up in the skies over the East Coast.
Now, over and over my other neighbor's house.
Lawmakers in Washington are growing frustrated that the Biden administration isn't explaining what they are. You see the internet's running wild with conspiracy theories, and do you feel like the administration needs to fill that void?
Well, I think they should get out something as quickly as they can.
Theories are running wild about what the flying objects may be. One New Jersey congressman said they were being launched by an Iranian mothership off the Atlantic coast. The White House today saying an investigation is underway, but there is no cause for alarm.
Right now, there's just no indication that this is some sort of foreign malign activity or, in fact, even criminal.
Adding the objects being seen in the sky aren't even necessarily drones.
It appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully.
And while the Pentagon has said they aren't military drones and they do not come from a foreign threat, senators like New York's Kirsten Gillibrand are demanding more information.
We cannot simply say, well, they're not causing any harm. Well, do we know that? What are they doing? And who's sending them?
The FBI is leading this investigation, getting support from both the FAA and DHS, but none of these agencies are revealing any information as to what their probes have discovered, meaning the mystery of what's up in the sky continues. Lester?
What I've seen regarding the drones is more so just when you're driving around at night and you see the blinking lights up in the sky. And when I was driving home from a friend's house, I saw one that looked about the size of a car that was just hovering over Flanders Valley golf course. It was a circular object that had lights all around it, almost like the classic UFO that you would see online.
So I've seen them over my house just about every single night for the past 2.5 weeks. At first, they were more sporadic. I would see 1 to 2, sometimes 3 of them. And now we're seeing anywhere between 6 to 8 in a single sighting. So they're not scary per se. They're not like looking through your window. They're not crashing into your house. But it's still concerning because there are these mystery UFOs, unidentified flying objects flying around. that nobody is giving any answers to, and nobody seems to know what they are. This is something that's either military or beyond. You know, these are huge. They're not the size of the normal video and camera drones that everyone's used to seeing, the ones that are about this big. These are big. You know, they're the size of small cars. Honestly, we have military. There's helicopters, there's planes. Somebody needs to go up there when one of those drones are out, get a close shot of it, or even, if it's possible, take one of them down. If they truly don't know what it is, it makes no sense that they're not trying everything they can, like the Chinese spy balloon that was floating around for a while, to take one down to get more information.
What we learned this week was that New Jersey lawmakers had a meeting with Federal Department of Homeland Security officials and the state police. And what one lawmaker told the Associated Press was that they don't have a clue what the origin of these drones is or what's going on with them. But there was some other information that came out this week. Officials said that the drones began November 18th, that they've come out every night since then, that they're usually in the skies over central and northern New Jersey from about 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. They're difficult to detect. The state police have tried to go after them with state helicopters, the Associated Press was told by a lawmaker. And as soon as that happened, as soon as the chopper's lights were on the drone went dark and they were untraceable. We've also learned that these drones are large, relatively speaking. They're not hobbyist drones, the officials said. They're about 6 feet in diameter, so they're large. And today, the Attorney General of New Jersey said that New Jersey needs federal authorities' help to determine what's going on here.
And before I turn to questions, I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office. From President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
Zechariah chapter 5 and verse 1 from the top. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, Seest thou? And answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it. You can link that up with Exodus 21 and 16, okay? And everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on the side according to it. We stop there. First, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh, Bashima Mashiach Yahushai, Ruha Ruka Kodash. Double honors to the mighty men, the elders, and the apostles in the community, waking up the lost sheep of the house of Israel in these last days. Peace and blessings to everyone doing this truth and humbleness and sincerity. Again, I'm going to say shalom. Brother Yalsab coming at you with another video. And, you look at the videos posted, okay? If you believe that press secretary's statement on those were alleged government drones on special assignment, and that was the conclusion, well, you already been deceived. Now, for argument's sake, yes, when you look at the videos, absolutely, some of those flying things across this planet are drones. In some cases, you could argue they're even Project Bluebeam. You could make certain arguments, but everything up there isn't a drone. Okay, and I pulled an older video. It's not that old. maybe a month old. I kind of reposted it because even the eyewitness seen it was flying, and it basically it went into the night sky, meaning it cloaked away. Our drones can't do that. Okay. But, you know, the videos speak for itself. The press secretary, okay, the statement the statement apparently made by the president, that's false, man. Okay, and I would even go as far as saying, if these were government tested drones, where is the evidence of that before the news? It was this drone flying at night. Okay, it was that drone flying at night. Or this one has this feature. Where is that evidence? Okay. So we're going to get some scriptures, and I'm going to wind it down. This shouldn't be a long video at all, but the argument I'm making is all those alleged drones, those are not drones. Those are the chariots of the Most High. Okay? And they're here for a specific reason. They've been there. But they've been on standby since the Israelites fell off. Okay? But let's just deal with the drones. Let's just deal with the chariots. And I'm going to wind it down. Let's go to Ezekiel real quick. Yeah, don't let the mainstream media or Congress or even the White House deceive you into, oh, they've concluded these were special drones set out for tests and things of that nature. Lie. Some of which, yes, but the reality is all of them were not drones. A lot of them were legitimate chariots. And these what you call scouter chariots. They're scouting this whole world until the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob give the decree to destroy the United States of America for stealing the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. And not just here in Babylon the Great, to the four corners of the earth scattered. The Lord's going to bring the pain when this trumpet sounds. Okay? Let's get Ezekiel. Let's get Ezekiel 1 from the top. And it reads, now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river of Seber, if I'm saying that right, Slakia, that the heavens were open and I saw visions of God. We're going to jump down to verse 4. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, and out of the midst of the fire, also out of the midst there came the likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was their appearance. They had likeness of men, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of the calf foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. This is going into the depiction of the pilots of the chariots, the angels in the host of heaven. Yes, they're of color, okay, so-called brown. Look at this menorah in front of you. That's brass, okay? And a lot of the chariots, they have this brownish complexion, okay? Verse 8, and they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings. Okay, there you go. And these angelic forces they're pretty big. Now we do know Jacob wrestled with one of them. Let me see if I get that. And I think that's Genesis 35. Jacob, he refused to let go, if I recall. And that was before Jacob's name was turned to Israel. Okay. But the 12 tribes are special people, and with all the stuff going on the planet Earth, especially these executive orders, you're seeing more and more Israelites being oppressed by ICE. Okay, I'm gonna go on record. I don't really subscribe to the full Jacob's Trouble doctrine because Israelites are always harassed by racism, white supremacy in America. That's not a new thing. We feel the prison systems. Okay, the cops beat us to a pulp, and I always resurface this. You have audit to audit. You have police audits. You have Dr. Rashad Ritchie's podcast. There's too many podcasts to show it's so-called white people that assault people of color from 1619 to today. That's plain. They're not going into Israeli neighborhoods in America attacking them. They assault people of color. It's like the image in the corner. You have Caesar on one side and Hamashiach Yahushua, the description, on the other side. That's how the cops look, and the image of Yahushua will be representing people of color, and it's Caesar that attacked people of color throughout this world, not just America. And there's not an Israeli in this country that could combat me on that. We're the chosen children of Israel. And that evidence, it speaks for itself. And I challenge any of y'all on my podcast to YouTube Dr. Rashad Ritchie and just check out his podcast, or Audit to Audit, and see who the victims are. I'll wait. But to the topic. Let me try to get that point. Let me pull that. I want to pull that real quick. But it's something people of color have to consider, because we catch nothing but hell in this captivity, man. In that court system, forget it. Keep it general. But all you brothers and sisters know what I'm talking about in that those district courts, how you have a legitimate case and you have magistrate judges acting as a second defense against everything you're trying to put out to prove your point. They don't do that to so-called white people in this country. They do that to people of color, right? But these days of them oppressing us and afflicting us, that's coming to an end. Why do you think you got these mass chariot sightings? I'm in Genesis 35. I'm just trying to find that account where he wrestled that angel, because that wasn't just some regular being. That wasn't just some regular being Jacob fought with. He was dealing with an angelic force, and he refused to let it go. And the Lord ultimately blessed him, right? And, Israelites in the knowledge of this truth right now, we have to have the same sentiment right now in these last days, because they're gonna come down on us very hard in these last days. And they've been doing that, though. They've been doing that. And they're going to keep doing that. You have to endure to the end. It's going to get, it's going to get difficult, okay? And that's fine. You just got to hold on. Okay, Shalakia family. It wasn't Genesis 35. It was Genesis 32. I got that count. I'm going to try to just get to the point. Genesis 32 and verse 24, and it reads, and Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh and said, and Slakia, and the hollows of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. Apparently Jacob had like a, broken ligament there. But moving on, he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. Okay. That's that, Jacob, he's a supplanter, right? And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince thou hast power with the Most High and with men, and hast prevailed. Apparently, his thigh was broken, but Jacob, he didn't let that angel go until he got the blessings from the Most High. Okay, now we know our history. Sadly enough, we didn't keep the commandments, and we're in this little state today. And we're at the end of this kingdom. And we're witnessing the downfall of this place. And we just have to, Slakia, we have to continue in this fate as the day get closer and closer. Let me get one more from Genesis 32. Genesis 32, and I want to read verse 30. Slakia, I just want to read 28 again from the top. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince thou hast power with God and with men hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore it is thou dost ask after my name. And he blessed him there. And that was the blessing in the beginning. Okay, that was just a sign of things to come for the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. But before I end this, let's go to, what are these chariots really going to do? Right? Let's get Isaiah 66 and verse 15. I'm going to wind it down. I don't want it to be too long. Because at some point, the Lord's going to, first, the Most High, he's going to come with the sound of the trumpet. Okay, the dead in Christ going to rise, but in this day, it's going to be the day of the Lord's vengeance. And he's going to take down these elites, okay? All the dukes of Edom, okay, all the racism, white supremacy, he's coming to shut all that down. America's never going to be great again. The Most High has begun judging this place to no return. And it's only going to increase. But these so-called orbs, drones, unidentified flying objects, they're going to be revealed by the millions. Okay? And the Lord's going to destroy this place, man. Isaiah 66. We're going to read verse 14. And when you and when you see this, your heart shall rejoice and your bones shall flourish like an herb. And the hand of the Most High shall be known toward his servants, dealing with the 12, and his indignation towards his enemies. And that's separation, and that's not a cut on your spiritual Israel, man. That foolishness. Reading on. Verse 15. For behold, the Most High will come with fire and with clouds, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slaying of the Lord shall be many. So the Lord's gonna do a lot of justifiable vengeance on this day. right? Because we've been punished really by the creator of heaven and earth, but it's your Dukes of Edom, okay? Your Tin Horns, your common markets. They never had mercy on people of color. They don't to this day, right? They beat us to a pulp, made us debt slaves. Sadly, they've even made their own people and other nations debt slaves. But the main target has always been the scattered 12 tribes of the children of Israel here in America, in the four corners of the earth. Okay. But it's coming to an end. And there's nothing the powers that be can do to stop it. Right? Verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, that's pork, okay? For all you Christians that believe you can have that in your body, nah. The Lord prohibits his people to be touching swine's flesh, okay? Let's read that from the top. Isaiah 66 and verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden behind one tree in the midst, eating swine flesh, the abomination, and the mouse shall be consumed together, said the Lord. Okay, because the Most High will judge chiefly the wicked. But even if you're in the knowledge of this truth, you have to be careful as that day approaches to not go into sin. Okay, you have to keep the commandments and keep your mind clean. Because if your mind is found, I'm going to go here. If your mind is unclean in this day, you can get cut off. Okay? Let's get Revelations. I'm on wind this down. In the other accounts, I believe there's a Slakia. I believe there's an account in Habakkuk. There are other accounts with the chariots. I didn't want to get too far in detail. Let's get Revelations. I think that's 11. We're going to end it here. We're going to end it here. I made this video a little too long. My apologies. I try to make them at least 15 minutes minimum. This was already hit 20. But let me close this out. Salakia. Revelation chapter 11 and verse 8. We're going to end it here. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. That's talking about America, where also our Lord was crucified. They crucified his image, obviously with Caesar, and you had the children of Edom, your Dukes of Edom, alleged they're the people of God, but they celebrate every pagan holiday, feast, Hollywood, you name it. They're into all that, but they're the children of God, and they chiefly don't align up with the curses in Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter, chiefly. Reading on. Revelation chapter 11 and verse 10. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. That's a link up with Ezekiel, I believe that's 37. Okay? But this is the point. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up in the heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them, because on the day of the Lord, Okay? The elect's going to be delivered out of thermonuclear destruction. We're not going to walk around in walls of fire. We won't be on horses. Okay? The Lord's He's going to pull us up. You can link this up with Isaiah 43, 1 and 2 as well. The fire will not kindle upon thee, but we're going to be delivered out of the fire into the wilderness, as is written in Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. Okay? Salvation and deliverance is for the children of Israel, and they'll be at rest, and none will make them afraid. Roughly paraphrasing Jeremiah 30, 7 through 10, I believe. Okay? But with that, give all praise, honor, and glory to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh, Ba'Shem HaMashiach, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to mighty men, the elders, and the apostles in the community, waking up the lost sheep of the house of Israel in these last days. Peace and blessings to everyone doing this truth and humbleness, sincerity. Israel, I love y'all. We got next. Shalom, family.